What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to another video here on the Fortitude Investing channel. Just want to get it started off here. I'm doing a little bit of a different format here with how I'm doing my videos. Just a little bit more structure, some more charts, just some pictures, just going over what exactly I am reviewing so that we can all get a great understanding of that. So today I'm going to be talking about just guiding the ship through the next few months. And I just did today through March 1st, just because, well, that's easy. But no, seriously. So I talked a little bit about the government being shut down. Let's see, a few days ago in my previous video, and just talking a lot about not why necessarily the government shut down. That's not really what I get into. But I talk more about what's going on and why is it affecting the stock market and crypto. So last night, I believe that it sounds like they've come to an agreement. Hopefully, they will be opening it back up, hopefully this week. But it sounds like things are actually starting to move forward. So I know it's been a while, but there's some huge things that are going to happen. And I don't have this one on here, but the XRP ETFs, the Solana ETFs, the Cardano ETFs, those are going to be going live very soon with the SEC going to be back up and running, fully staffed. So, yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about with the government being opened back up, what that means for us and how that's going to affect us. With the government being shut down, the Federal Reserve is flying blind. They're basically driving a ship that they don't really know where it's going. So they're not getting any data. And our Fed, unfortunately, is always driven by data. You can love him or hate him. I don't think that he's done a horrible job, but I'll leave that up to you guys. So with that, with the Fed not being exactly able to understand what's really going on in the day to day, it's been difficult for the Fed to be able to make decisions. But more than anything, I would say the biggest thing is there's a blockage in the liquidity flowing through the government. So that is more on the institutions, the banks, the Federal Reserve side of there's just nobody working. And it just makes things more difficult. So think about like the best way to explain this is if you have a river and say for an example there's a log that gets stuck in a small part of the river and it starts to dam up the river a little bit, right? Say only 50% of the water is actually flowing through this river. That's kind of what this is like. Like there's still money moving, of course, but it's not at full capacity. So some of the first things that will be affected is risk on assets, and crypto is strictly, not strictly, but most of the time it is driven by liquidity. The more liquidity, the more it's going to go up in price. But on to the next part, the regulations. So with the Senate actually being back up and running, that means that they can actually put full time and energy back into getting these regulations put through. I seen today something about the Senate had drawn up some sort of, I don't know if it was a paper, I don't know exactly what was going on, but it sounds like there's some progress going on right now in the lower ranks of the Senate. So that's a good sign that within a day they've already started working on it. So again, incredibly important to continue to see what's going on and pay attention to what's going on in the Senate. I'm going to keep you guys updated as much as I possibly can on this Clarity Act. But yeah, so again, liquidity, the Clarity Act regulations, and then the Fed, unfortunately, cannot get data. Um, those are some of the big things that are going on now with this government being back open. We will be able to get more liquidity flowing through, start working on regulations, and now the Federal Reserve, the chairman, and his committee will be able to adjust the monetary policy the way that they see fit with the data. Also, I want to talk a little bit about how similar, not exactly the same, maybe not exactly the same patterns, but still very similar setups to the 2021 bull run with Bitcoin. I want to do a little bit more with XRP as well, but unfortunately, the 2021 bull run was canceled for XRP due to them being under the SEC regulation. Or, I mean, sorry, the SEC lawsuit. It still had a little bit of a bull run, but nothing like Bitcoin or some of these other altcoins. But again, you kind of have a little bit of a black swan event in 2020 with COVID being shut down. And after that, they flooded the market. They dropped the interest rates to zero, and there was a lot of money. Very easy credit is what I call that. And similar setup here on Bitcoin in the year 2025 is that here in April, the end of March, early April, we had the tariff announcements, and that spooked the markets big time. I mean, a huge correction all across the board. And we've kind of been getting back up to those numbers and then just consolidation, which, as you can see here in 2020 and into 2021, it was a lot of it's get back to where Bitcoin was, which I believe is probably right around $10,000 to $15,000 a coin. And it was consolidating almost all the way until the beginning of 2021. And that's when everything finally started to, the supply chain started to get back to normal. Everything was getting back to normal. However you want to call that. I don't know if that was normal on the charts. But the amount of liquidity that was pumped into these markets, not just Bitcoin, but the entire stock market, you see a mega blow off top bull run through almost all of 2021. We're seeing a very similar setup here where we see a black swan event in April, consolidation, and then it's being postponed due to this government shutdown. With it coming back up, great. Also, again, like I said in my last video, the Fed is wanting to to stop tightening and move towards a more neutral policy. And we could also see the easing side as well. That hasn't been confirmed nor denied. All we know is that there is no more tightening. That doesn't necessarily mean that we go from tightening to easing. That just means that they're going to be at a just wait and see, right? They're just going to say, okay, now we see the data. Do we need to cut? Do we need to ease? Whatever, okay? It's not a bad stance to be in by any means. But the big thing is that Trump had came out and said that he was going to do another round of stimulus checks. Take that with a grain of salt because maybe it might happen, it might not. Again, this is kind of one of those, we're going to steer the ship in the right direction as we see fit. So that's why every single day I'm doing my research. I'm helping you guys out. I'm hoping you're doing your research as well to see where this will go. Will Trump give out these stimulus checks? I don't know. I don't know necessarily if the Fed is going to continue to cut interest rates into December and January. Again, I don't know. But the way things are shaping up to be, it seems to be very hopeful. So in a sense, there's a lot of potential for a liquidity flood into this market. And any asset, doesn't matter if it's not just crypto, any asset appreciates very well when the liquidity is flooded into the system. Obviously, risk assets like Bitcoin, like XRP, are going to do really, really well. So we have a great setup. And I'm not saying that we're going to have a very similar or, how that bull run went, but the setups are very similar. And last thing, this just came out today. Eleanor Tourette had posted or reposted, whatever, spot ETF staking. And this only applies to certain coins. This is not a Bitcoin or XRP. This is coins more like Cardano, Ethereum, and Solana that are proof of stake coins. Um, these coins are going to be put into an ETF, which obviously Ethereum has their ETFs, and Cardano and Solana are both waiting, pending their ETFs, which I think actually, I do believe Solana has gotten one of their first spot ETFs. But with that being said, that will allow for your businesses or your asset managers to stake their holdings of the coins and get yield from them. And then they will take that yield and pass it down to the consumer who is buying their ETF. The exact same way. Think exactly the same way as a stock, right? And the company is giving dividends for holding the stock. Same thing, except they're staking it. So again, very, very similar here. But the only reason why those coins, Cardano, Ethereum, and Solana, are going to have this ability is because they are proof of stake, not proof of work. Bitcoin is proof of work, not proof of staking. So that's why Bitcoin will not be getting this option. But yeah, I just want to keep you guys updated. This is super cool. Yeah. So any questions, any comments, concerns, leave them right down here in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, keep working hard, keep putting money away, keep buying these assets because I can really see a very, very good 2026 bull run. This is looking great. The setups are great. And the Clarity Act, guys. That's seriously, if I could ask for anything, that's the one we need is the Clarity Act. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening. I appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Know what you want and believe that you can and will get it.
Your time is limited.
Always keep going.
You kill me! Keep going! You keep going!
A Thessalonian you're fighting. He's the biggest man I've ever seen. I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's why no one will remember your name.